Hey there. I think the question that most agents get the most, more than any other question, is probably, hey, how's the market? Well, hey, let's talk about the market and let me share with you my thoughts and my observations on what is happening in our county, in our area in Tyler, Texas, in Smith County today, which is August 22nd, 2025. And let me tell you kind of what's going on. So, the average day on the market in Smith County right now is 83 days. Now, when we've come off several years of, busy, and I know last year was really hard for a lot of agents, for our team, it was our best year ever actually, which is really crazy. So it didn't feel super slow to us, but for most people it was feeling very, very slow. And this year is feeling very, very slow. And I will tell you that what I'm seeing is that because it is a buyer's market, and I will tell you most of my career it's been a seller's market, unless it was the first couple of years I was in the industry and didn't even know what that meant. But my whole career it has mostly been a seller's market or closer to a neutral market, and now it is definitely a buyer's market. So, what that means or what that feels like in the actual day in and day out of real estate when you're a real estate agent or if you're a buyer or seller is that things are moving super slow. We have no buyers that are looking unless they are serious buyers. That is what I'm seeing in the market. So, you put a house on the market, you feel like the price is fair, it's listed with the comps, you're pricing it at the median price, even maybe. And, maybe you're even pricing it on the lower end sometimes, and still you don't get like the doors blowing down with lots of showings the first week. Sometimes there's not any. You put a brand new listing on the market, and sometimes we don't even get a showing for a while. And then sometimes it goes 4 days and days and days on end before you get another showing, sometimes a week or two. So it just depends on the house, but I will tell you a lot of things are taking longer to sell. Now, what also is happening, I think, is because only those serious buyers are buying, there are no looky loos. Our open houses are pretty light. They're never, in my opinion, in my experience, we never have like tons of people through open houses. But if we have like a dozen people, that's a pretty good day. Sometimes we will have no one. We will have one or two people. And that happens in a normal market too. But right now it just feels like there's not anybody out there who is looking, just for fun, and a lot of people coming through, and I think the rates are either you can afford them or you can't. So interest rates right now are at about 6.5%. And we are expecting that, I shouldn't say we are expecting, we are hopeful. We are hearing things that throughout the year, from now through the end of the year, rates may drop some. And that would be amazing. And that will help a lot of buyers be able to afford a home. So if you're like new to real estate and you don't have a clue what I'm talking about there, what I'm saying is that you think about when let's say you borrow $300,000 to buy a house, and you've got your taxes and your insurance and you've got your payment on that. And if you only put 3.5% down, or maybe you're a veteran and you put zero down, then your loan is $300,000. It's that full amount. And then you've got your taxes and your insurance. And if you have a loan where you have mortgage insurance on top of that, if you don't put 20% down, you're going to have PMI, which is that mortgage insurance. So that's more on that payment. So if you are a buyer and the rate that they're charging you for borrowing that $300,000 is 6.5%, well, if it drops down to 5%, or even 6%, every little bit helps, right? So when you're looking at your payment, you're going to be paying less monthly when there's a lower interest rate, when they're charging you less to let you borrow that money. So what we're seeing right now in the market is that we don't have tons of buyers, we don't get tons of showings. And I've seen agents posting about this online and talking about it among ourselves, and we're asking each other. I've had top agent stop by to pick up a check or something, and we've had conversations about it. I visited with one of my sweet, dear broker friends not long ago, last weekend, I believe, and we, talked about the market and how things are feeling. So it's kind of across the board. If you do a lot of business, you're experiencing kind of what's happening, and we're seeing it on a big scale, that buyers are just only buying when they really, really, really have to buy, want to buy, need to buy. And so it is, there's also lots of inventory. That's something to consider too. There's lots of houses on the market. So a buyer has a lot of options, which is great when you're working with buyers because they have lots of choices. But what I'm also seeing is that buyers put a house under contract by asking kind of for the moon. And then we do inspections and buyers are asking for the moon again. And then if they don't get what they want or they can't, I've had a lot of people backing out, and I've heard of other agents saying the same thing. We're having people that buyers just, they have lots of choices. So they'll just move on. They'll just move on to the next thing. So it's a tough market for sellers, but the buyers that you do get, if they really love your house, then they are serious buyers and they're probably pre-qualified buyers. So that is a really good part of this market. Having lots of inventory for your buyers, having lots of choices when you're a buyer, that is great. Now listen, rates were almost, or we're at 9, y'all. So now we are back down here to 6.5. If you're a buyer, now is the time for you to buy if you can afford it, because the rates are going to drop more than likely over the next few months, and you could refinance. But when that happens, if it drops drastically, and I don't think it's ever going to be super low where we were with competition and all that with craziness and people paying way over. I don't think we're going to see that in my lifetime, would be my expectation. So I wouldn't even be looking for that. If you want to buy a property, this is normal. The 6.5% is a great normal rate for, like, historically, when you look at history, okay? But if you were to buy a house now, you have options. You are in the driver's seat. You have negotiating power because sellers know there's tons of other choices out there. So it's a great time if you're a buyer and you can afford the payment to jump into the market. And then if rates drop, you will have a great house that you did not have to overpay for, and that you probably got a good deal on, or at least one that feels right. And then what will happen is that the rates can drop and you can refinance, and then you will have had all the benefits, and then you'll have a lower rate too. So my advice to you is, if you're a buyer and you're thinking about buying, you should jump in the market now if you can afford it, because when the rates drop, there's going to be a lot more competition, which can also increase the price and also puts the sellers a little bit more in the driver's seat. And right now you're the driver, so I say step on the gas pedal, go buy something. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Like, subscribe, share this with your friends. Help us build this channel, y'all. Let's do it. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.